This is an extended fuel tank. As you can see, it is installed in my Ford F-150 Flareside, 1994, this pickup. So the tank's going to come with the longer bolts, your washers, these cylinders or tubes. You use the same mounts. That's pretty much it. So even though Amazon says it does not fit, it does fit. The only thing that you're going to have to do, so ignore this dent. This is because I had to drop it with a full, when it was full, because the pump went out, so I had to replace the pump. But the reason why it doesn't fit is because you have to modify the pump, and I'm going to explain the modifications, but yeah, it goes right in. So this is what the tank looks like. So this is the tank that I bought. It's an Evans Fisher 38-gallon fuel tank compatible with Ford F-150. And then it has these numbers, so 87, 88, 89. Then it gives you the engines. Now, I actually installed this tank a long time ago. I used to have a 1986 F250 diesel. I actually installed this tank in it. Same modifications apply. Well, that one's a little different because that truck did not have the fuel pump in the tank. So you get these copper tubes. You just solder them on or weld them on, depending on what you use. Remember, you're doing steel to copper, copper to steel. I forget what it is, what diode or flux you need. That's usually a question for my old man. So yeah, I forgot. It's yellow. That's all I remember. Anyway, that aside, sorry, I'm not being much help. But anyway, you weld these on, and that's how you extend them. So you measure the difference in the depth, and then you modify the sending unit, the wire for the sending unit. But I actually installed this in my 1994. And if you go into vehicle type, for example, trucks, and we do a 94, it's going to say it doesn't fit. But as I showed you, it does fit. So it installs. The only thing is, you're not going to find a pump that can go in there, or a pickup that can go in there that I know of as of this video. So it goes to the bottom and picks up the fuel. So it does not fit. That's what you will get. But like I said, it does fit. So it comes with the longer bolts, those cylinders or tubes, as you saw in the video, with the washers. I don't remember if it comes with new nuts or if I reused the old ones. But the main thing is those copper tubes. That's what you're going to end up using, and you will have to cut them to size, depending on if you're using a 94. And the reason why is because of the fuel pump. So you're going to have to cut them a little. No big deal. Or maybe you can use them. Maybe I made a mistake in my measurements. That's a possibility. I know I do have to do a slight modification, but some other time it doesn't affect me at this point. So let's just say you have a 94. Now this is just a general picture of a fuel pump. I'm actually, based on the look, I don't remember if this is the saddle tank or the rear tank. But what you're going to end up doing is right here, these flat spots where it's straight. This is where you cut. So you're going to cut here, and you're going to cut here, and you're going to put that copper tubing right in there, and then you're just going to weld, 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 weld. Now, really quick, keep in mind, if you have a brand new one, well, good for you. It's brand new and it's dry. If you took it out of your tank, then you have to be very careful because you have very flammable fluid. So you're going to remove this completely, and there is a sort of like a washer that goes in here. So you have to, if I recall correctly, it's on the other side, or maybe it's on this side, but you press it in and then you have to pull the tube out. If you just try pulling the tube, there's these little claws, let's say, that will just grab on, won't let it come out. So you have to press it in and then pull the tube out, and then you'll remove the whole thing. So once you remove this, this will come out, and then this is covered in fuel, so you can put this in a container where you don't spill fuel all over the ground. Be careful with that. And then you can just let this dry out, let the fuel just evaporate from these tubings. Then you go through and you cut, and then you weld. Just make sure you get the wires out of the way, anything that's flammable out of the way. You can put a wet towel over this so that it doesn't burn up as you're welding this together, and this will give you the length. Now, one of the things that I did this installation a long time ago, but I did a cardboard sort of mock-up, and I put it inside of the tank, and then I went to the outside to the opening here to try to match the angle and see if it gets to this little hump at the bottom where it picks up the fuel. And then I sort of place this on top of that cardboard and try to match it up. Something that's very, very important is the sending unit. This isn't going to be precise, unfortunately, because of the length, unless you modify this completely and change the length. So one of the things that you will have to do, since this will be longer, is you will probably have to take this and bend it to adjust it. So maybe bend it down, or else it's going to say that it's empty before it's empty. That would be an example. Now, it's going to be full for quite a while, a long time, until you get about halfway into the tank, unless you lengthen this and extend it and then modify. So that's something to keep in mind. You may have to modify this part of the sending unit. Let's see. If you make a mistake with the angle, one of the things that can happen is this pump could be a little higher. So that was one of the mistakes that I made, to where it's a 38-gallon tank. This thing runs dry at 33 gallons, which means that I have, say, 5 gallons still in the tank when this can no longer pump any fuel. Well, that's something to keep in mind, but at some point I'll go through and I'll fix that. It's an easy fix. I just have to bend these tubes a little, and it's copper, so it's very soft. But that is it. So the point of this whole thing is the tank does fit. You're just going to have to modify this and be very, very careful not to set anything on fire. I'm just telling you what I did. I'm not recommending that you do anything, and don't do anything that will cause any trouble or get you injured or anything. But that's pretty much it. So now I have an extended range, which at one point I needed the extended range. Now I don't. But if you want to get over, 500 miles, 600 on the diesel, on that 1986 diesel, I used to get about 700 miles out of the two tanks, the saddle tank and that rear tank. It was actually a pretty nice truck, but it wasn't four-wheel drive. My needs changed, so I had to get a four-wheel drive. Luckily, I found this Flareside a few years back. But that's pretty much it. So I hope this was informative, useful, at least entertaining. Please subscribe if you have not, and I'll catch you in the next one.